fashion and morality change with time? Morality isn't universal for all time but instead changes according to the context it's presented in. Moral values are constantly evolving and vary depending on culture and location. This means there can be no universal, fixed definition of morality. One significant example is the moral compass in Germany during WWII. Many people did things that are generally not acceptable today, such as promoting segregation or mistreatment of other cultures. Although fashion and morals are constantly changing, nerds seem to act always no matter where they find themselves. For instance, their fashion sense does not seem to change, and it can make them seem out of place in school, where fashion is consistently regarded highly. They seem alright when they leave school, but they would still have the same fashion sense. It's not hard to imagine what a hacker would look like from Hollywood movies, a person in a black hoodie and sunglasses, working tirelessly to crack some code. However, what about artists? As visual creatives, many of us think of an artist's job involving immense passion and emotion, painting with our heart instead of our head. But what we do not know is hackers and painters have a lot in common. For instance, in software development and painting, the success of both parties can be measured by how well their audience likes them. For developers, this depends on how well they meet users' needs, while for painters, this depends on how well their work pleases the audience. Even though there are no universal metrics to determine the value of abstract work, it is undeniable that people love a good story. To become a hacker, you must first peek behind the curtain. Like nearly every other job type, becoming a hacker requires observation, studying and learning the work of those who came before you and doing your best to replicate it independently. It's only by looking at the work of skilled hackers that you can think to emulate it. And if you want to be an expert, you will often have to break several rules. There is a big difference between working hard and working smart. If you're working for a large company, you might be putting in long hours and lots of effort, but you probably won't see much in pay raises because your boss will expect that you'll put in even more complex work in the future. This can be seen as working hard, but if you work smart and start your own company, you can be in charge of your destiny and determine your income. This is the case with the author, and he and his colleagues made millions from selling their startup via web. Not everyone would agree with this, but it all boils down to your personal preference and your desire to generate wealth that would last you and your family. The ultimate test for how successful you are as a company is how your users and customers view your brand. Customer satisfaction should be the most significant indicator to gauge where you need to improve. So how can you do this? The worse is better philosophy has been used by some of the most successful companies in the world. You can follow this strategy by creating a prototype or a minimum viable product as soon as possible and releasing it to real users. It helps to prioritize the critical functions of your product, fix mistakes, and improve on what works best for your target audience. Think of it as a prototype. If it solves your users' problems, it will succeed.